Hey, this is Dave at DA Griffin Hobby. I've got this Budd RDC-1, the Baltimore and Ohio 400. My uncle just gave it to me. He got it himself from his father, so I think it's fantastic that my grandfather bought this, and now I have it. I just threw it down the layout and it did not move. So I quickly took the shell off and took a look, and everything looked okay. I cleaned the commutator and the brushes, but still no luck. So I took a look at the power truck. It is just absolutely caked with old lubricants, to the degree that it wasn't turning. This piece I had to force off, and that should be free to spin. So this shaft would not turn, so that's why it was not working. But it was also completely caked in here. You could not see the edges of the gears. I took the power truck apart and just started scraping out all the dried, caked on, gooed up, disgusting, nasty, sticky, whatever else adhesive in here. Yeah, it's become adhesive, but the lubricants in here, and it's a mess. So I think that just after cleaning this out, putting a little lubricant in there and putting it back together, I think it should run fine. Down the line, I would most likely rewire it, maybe do another cleaning of the trucks, but for the time being, to get it on the layout, I think really it just needs this power truck all cleaned up. As you can see, I've gotten quite a lot of junk off of it so far. So one of the things I wanted to show you is cleaning the adhesive off of the obvious spots is one thing. You know, the places where you can really see it caked in. But what you might not think is actually cleaning the individual teeth of the gear. And I've had it make a major difference, because even if you clean everything else, there's still going to be junk in the gears. So it's a little tedious. I've done this a couple times and have had very good results. So take the power truck off, strip it down to the basic parts, maybe spray it with a little WD-40 will help loosen some of the stuff up, but then just get in there with a toothpick and clean those gears out. And this was soaking for a little bit, so it's starting to loosen up. When I first tried scraping this stuff out, it was tough. It was all hard and solidified and did not want to break apart. When I first looked at the power truck from underneath, I couldn't even find the gears. I didn't know where they were because I couldn't see them. I knew where they're supposed to be, but you know, to the eye, they weren't there. So if you purchase an old engine, or if you have one that's been sitting, you know, in storage for 30 years or something like that, most likely all that lubricant that's in the power truck is just solidified garbage. So in that sort of circumstance like this one, when it wouldn't move at all, I took it all apart and, as I said, sprayed it with some WD-40, and I'm now just scraping everything out of the gears. After that, I will wipe it down and re-oil the gears. Also, I'll clean the wheels while I've got it apart. So I did a quick cleaning of the gears, and I'm happy with them for now. Once I get this running, I will end up taking it apart again and do another cleaning once some of the new oil has had a chance to work its way through everything. I wiped each of these wheels with a Q-tip with rubbing alcohol, and am just trying to scrape off the caked on dirt. So if you look at these wheels, you'll see there's a lighter silver section in the middle, and that's where the wheel contacts the rail, and that has to be clean. If you look right here, there's a little dirt, and if you scrape that off, you'll have much better conductivity between the wheels and the track. So So since this is basically cleaned, I'm just gonna label 107, a couple spots. Normally I would put grease on these gears, but since I'm trying to loosen up everything that was on there, I'm just going to use the lighter oil and then apply grease after another cleaning. This truck style, it's a little hard to get oil down to the axle, so I just put some on this side and hopefully it gets in there. As I had said, this was completely seized in that bushing from sitting in the years of grease. So I had to force that off, and now I just want to clean this up and throw it back together. Just like the gears on the truck though, you see all this caked in here, and you really should get that out if you can, because besides being not lubricant anymore, it's going to add to premature wear of parts. Slow running, more tension and resistance. So scrape out what you can. I'm using a toothpick so that I don't damage the gears. I would not use a metal tool for this. One by one, and just get out what's in there. Sometimes I've pulled out what almost feels like plastic because the lubricant is so solidified. You could just brush these with a toothbrush if you wanted. Might be a little quicker, but when I have one like this where it didn't even want to turn, I'd rather take the extra minute or two and use the toothpick to scrape out the gears. And just like the other gears on the truck, I'm just going to add some of the lightweight label oil. That's pretty good. Line that back up and slide that in there. Still feels a little caked up, but it's enough that it will run now. There was so much grease in that it's all caked over the other parts of the front truck. Then the motor. I'd already been here a little bit with the Q-tip and with a toothpick. Still getting some good stuff out of there. When I do a full service on this later, I will remove the clip here and the thrust washers and just pull the armature out and give it a really good cleaning, because these tend to get gummed up inside. Which will also cause the engine not to run well. Now, I am going to put grease on this gear. Bell 106. This ground spring. I've seen conflicting information as far as whether it's supposed to go this way or the other way on this side of the frame or this side of the frame. If you know or have a pretty strong opinion one way or the other, let me know. I'm interested to see what people out there do. Even the screw is gunky. So if I didn't damage any of the wires while I was doing that, maybe this will work. Let's see what happens. Look at that. So not an hour ago, when I took the shell off the top, all I did was take the brush plate off. I cleaned the face of the commutator, I cleaned the brushes, and put that back together. And then I removed the motor from the truck and cleaned the truck. And this went from a completely static engine to running. And that's not bad, considering this is probably sat for 30 years. And that is essentially my first primary service on an old engine like this that has been sitting for too long and is all caked up and doesn't move. Is just get everything apart, clean out all the old lubricants, clean up the motor, and it should work, unless you have broken wires. I mean, some of these are pretty suspect, but I'll rewire that at a later time. Thanks for watching. Good luck getting your engines running, and like and subscribe, and hit me in the comments if you have any questions or recommendations for repairs of this type. Thanks for watching. See you next time on DA Griffin Hobby.